is up, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Josh, and I got Serophots here. Say hi.
Hello.
Today we are going to be talking about a very exciting news update from FSLabs, most likely my favorite developer, and probably Serophots' as well. They developed the amazing A320 family for Prepared 3D and FSX. They also have a Concord for FSX. And as you're going to see in not too long, they might be coming out with some new, or they're definitely coming out with some new stuff. Yeah, we got a pretty interesting show lined up for you. And
Very exciting.
let's get right into it.
So FS Labs have first announced, for quite a while we've known this, well not too long, they're making an A3XX, so we don't quite know which aircraft it'll be, but we know obviously it's an Airbus. It's very exciting. So we're going to jump into what aircraft we think it might be. Just to remind that this is completely speculation. They haven't really hinted at it either.
No, they haven't. Now, we've known for, I'd say, like a month or two that they are planning an A3XX. Again, we have no idea what it is. They haven't hinted to it in the slightest. But the one thing that the only thing that they've said about it is it'll hold a lot more fuel than our current line of products. So we know it's most likely going to be a long-haul aircraft, which is most of the Airbus, other than it's most of the Airbus family other than the A320. So again, we don't know what it's going to be, but the next thing that they mentioned was not well. Okay, they didn't necessarily mention them working on Microsoft, but they said they are monitoring the development of Microsoft. So that means they're keeping it as a possibility of what they might look into, but they don't have any plans that are public, at least.
They haven't really stated that they're moving to Microsoft, so for these opinions we're going to put for the aircraft that it might be, we're assuming that it won't be on MSFS.
Correct. Knowing their very large, following in P3D, we are assuming it's going to be an aircraft for P3D and not for Microsoft. You agree with that, right?
Yes, I can.
All right.
Okay, so quickly, first of all, they've stated that they expect to put up an announcement later this year as to what it is, so that's when we can hopefully look towards finding out which aircraft it is. Additionally, as the Concord is almost done and some other things we're going to look at later in the video, they are slowly ramping up development on this, which is very exciting. Hopefully we get this aircraft soon.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, now for which aircraft we believe it could be.
So the A300 and the A310. So we personally think it's unlikely. FSLabs have already made modern Airbus systems, so it makes sense for them to continue with modern Airbuses. So like the A330, A340, A350, or even the A380. So market for this is probably limited compared to the other Airbuses. So I builds have already commented, or sorry, not commented, but cornered this market on Explain. I builds, they did a great job on their A300 and A310.
Yeah, they make very high quality A300s and A310s for Explain already, so that market, relatively small market already, is already quite cornered.
Mm-hmm. So again, it's a possibility. We don't know, but we are going with that's not going to be their choice.
Alright, next is the A330 and A340. The A330, well, both of these make sense from what they've already made. The A320, it has a modern system, so does the 340 and 330. As for specifically the 330, we think this will be the highest demand product since it is the logical next step. Although no, we don't think it's the highest demand. We think it's highest demand second to the A350.
Yes.
Which we're getting into. Now, Aerosoft have already made their A330, but we all know that it isn't great. FS Labs targets a very different market to Aerosoft.
Yes.
So we don't think that's a factor to consider, really.
And another reason that it might be the A330, when Prepared or Lockheed Martin, that is, developed P3D V5, Aerosoft did update their 330 for V5. However, it is optimized terribly. Um, I know several people who had the A330 for V4 and installed it into V5, and they lost all of their frames after about 2 hours of flight, which is unacceptable for a flight sim product of the price that it is, around $60. I would expect it to be like optimized very well.
Yeah.
So again, it's a
A330.
possibility, and of course there's the black box, but we all again that's even less than, or it's like even lesser system wise and quality wise as the Aerosoft. All right, so the next one that we think it might be is the A350. So it's an incredibly popular aircraft. Um, it's pretty much uncornered. There's no good A350 on the market. Now you might say Flight Factor makes one, but to be honest, the Flight Factor 350 for X-Plane, while it's the best we have, it's just not to the level that professional flight simmers would like to have it.
Not to the
So
level FSLabs could provide.
exactly, definitely not. Um, and one of the problems with the 350 is there isn't enough documentation on the A350 systems to make a simulation as at FSLabs standards. Um, and FSLabs did state that during the Sharklet pre-release stream. And I will put the link to that video in the description below. Um,
Yeah,
but
unfortunately,
yeah,
the 350 is a relatively new aircraft, and with that comes a lack of documentation as it systems and stuff that FSLabs depends on to make such a high quality product.
yeah. And of course, it is FS Labs, however, so we do have to remember that if they want something, they will most likely be able to do it. So if they do choose the A350, or if the A350 is what they chose, I'm sure they'll do an incredible job with it. They will not release a product that isn't to their A320 family and Concord standards.
We personally would really love to see an A350
Mm-hmm.
because it's, long haul Airbus. It's really quite defining of Airbus. It's just
Definitely.
I think every simmer has wanted the A350
Mm-hmm.
for years
It's
now.
such a beautiful looking aircraft. And flight simulators in general are just completely dominated by Boeing, with PMDG releasing their amazing aircraft for Boeing, and then you have FS Labs making the 320, but you don't really have any long haul Airbus aircraft that are to the quality that PMDG is able to show for their Boeing.
So the final possibility is the A380. We also believe this would be a really popular release, as the A380 is obviously the biggest commercial airliner, very popular.
Or passenger
Mm,
airliner.
oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean everyone would love to see an
Yeah,
A380.
that would be sick. I'll
S-
be honest, that would be absolutely amazing.
So Fly-by-Wire have already stated, and they're making progress, good progress on their version for MSFS, which we haven't seen a lot from Fly-by-Wire. We don't know to what quality that will be, but I'm sure it will be viable for most professional simmers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, we don't really know the state of the documentation for the A380, as we just said. For the A350, a limiting factor was lack of documentation. We don't know how that's like for the A380. It is out for longer in terms of the actual aircraft, so there's probably more there. We're thinking there's probably enough for FS Labs to get by.
It's possible. So again, the let's see, it was first the A380 was first flown in December of 2000, and the A350 was flown in 2004. So it's a solid 4 years closer. So that's a possibility, but
Yeah,
yeah.
the A380 does have quite different systems to the A320 in
Mm-hmm.
terms of just the cockpit itself.
Yeah, the cockpit is like completely glass in the A380, unlike the 320, which has some manual inputs. and main
Yeah.
label displays.
And also behind the hood, the systems I assume are quite different. 4 engines for starters. That's a
Mm,
big difference. So it would be quite impractical for FS Labs to do that, but nothing's stopped FS Labs before.
nope.
It's very much a possibility. Yeah. So that's our thoughts on what it might be. No one really knows. We
No,
could be completely wrong.
we could be.
Probably are.
Yeah. So again, that's just what we think. We don't know. They haven't announced anything on it other than it holds a lot more fuel. And to be honest, every aircraft that Airbus makes holds more fuel. So we don't necessarily know.
Right.
So this is
Next.
probably my favorite thing. I definitely want to talk about this this is my favorite aircraft. Or FS Labs has announced their Neos. Um, so the FS Labs Facebook page profile picture shows a LEAP engine image, shown here on your screen right now. Look at that beautiful LEAP 1 Alpha engine. And commented by Andrew from FS Labs, who's a developer. It is not only from the picture. He said that it's actually, I can get the exact quote here. So the team continued to tease by updating their Facebook page cover image, like I just said. So it shows the engine, but it's not confirmed exactly what the teaser is. But Flight Sim Labs said that it is indeed something else, and they have been working on and updated. The quote was updated. It has been confirmed by Andrew from FS Labs that the Neo is coming. That excited me so much when I saw that come through on FS Elite. As again, my favorite aircraft is the A321Neo. Yeah, I've wanted a Neo for the FS Labs since I got it.
Yeah. The Neo has always been quite a logical step forward for the A320 family.
Mm-hmm.
Very glad to see that they're working on that.
Especially with the fact that Airbus is no longer making non Neo aircraft for the 320 family. What was that?
COs.
COs? Is that what they're calling them now?
Current engine option.
Oh, current engine. Oh, got it. So they right now the only thing that FS Labs doesn't have for the 320 is Neos. So if they do that, or when they do that, it is highly likely that they'll own the Airbus market for P3D.
Definitely.
One thing we got to mention or talk about is timing. So with the Sharklets update for P3D, I know that was taking an incredibly long amount of time. How this doesn't really, this to me at least, I could be completely wrong, but I'm going with by the end of the year it'll be relatively close to release. The only go ahead.
I'm hoping for release before the end of the year.
Me too. Of course, I'd love release tomorrow, but
Yeah.
So the only thing that they would need to do, of course I say the only thing, they'd need to add on their current models the Neo engines. Since they already have the Sharklets and the EFB, all they would need to add is a new engine type and different fuel burn. Now, I believe, or I heard somewhere on our Discord server here, that there's different eCam page for it. Is that true, or what's
with the
about that?
Sharklets update, they actually changed a lot of the things behind the scenes,
Oh, okay.
like the eCam system. That sort of change probably isn't necessary for the Neos, but we know FS Labs likes to go overboard on making sure everything's as realistic, even behind the scenes. If FS Labs don't end up, overworking the update, adding loads of potentially seen as unnecessary features, I think release could be quite soon. But FS Labs don't have a history of doing that.
No, they don't. They are very in depth. They are the professional flight simulator group. Or developers.
But they've already got the EFB out of the way. I can't I think the EFB took a lot of the development time for the Sharklets update,
Oh, without a
and
doubt.
rightfully so. That
Mm-hmm.
was a huge thing.
Yeah, it was.
I don't see any more systems like that the FS Labs doesn't already have.
Mm-hmm.
So, hoping for a speedy release on the Neos.
Me too. All right, so yeah, that's the Neos, and again, I'm very excited about that. Let's move on here.
So more on the FS Labs A320 series, the wingtip fence variants. They have just a few days ago announced that they are going to be putting the EFB into the wingtip fence versions. They mention that this will be a free update to those who already own the Sharklet variant, so have already paid for the EFB. But they specifically mention only to the SL version owners. So we're thinking for wingtip fence people, you're probably going to have to invest more money into the Sharklets to unlock the EFB,
Mostly,
which
yeah.
is, understandable. That's what you get with FSLabs with the quality they provide.
Yeah.
Now we already knew they were probably planning to do this since it was quite a very requested feature. Um, so they have confirmed that they're releasing this next update, which is far sooner than I had anticipated, which is the most exciting piece about this little news they've added. Um, so when that does release, that'll just that's just nice to have. Really, we knew it was coming. It's not a major change. Very good.
All right.
All right. Just other thing to note with the wingtip fence, they've been working on the FMGS. They've reworked some lateral offsets last month, and it seems they're rewriting the logic for the holding system.
For the whole.
Just minor
Oh.
improvements. They're still working on the FMGS. Good to hear.
Yeah. All right, and probably the last thing, or in the last update from FSLabs was regarding their Concord. They released, I don't know how long ago, but they released a while ago that they were going to be converting their FSX Concord over to Prepared. So not much to talk about here, but in the post from FSLabs, they said it's now receiving a lot more focus since they were able to finish the A320 project. So is confirmed to be to FSLabs standards, and they're very excited to show previews soon. We have not seen any images yet, but obviously, since they're taking it from FSX and bringing it to P3D, it is going to be very different. So, completely reworking it. We don't really know exactly what they're reworking, but they said they are completely reworking aspects of it.
We're expecting the whole FSLabs shebang, very high detailed cockpit, everything.
Awesome.
Great.
That's exciting.
A very iconic aircraft, the Concord. So
it is, yeah.
Have a high fidelity.
Mm-hmm. The DC to Z. Wow, hold on. The DC Designs Concord. I personally don't own, but several of our friends do, and they say it's pretty nice. And I was asking them just to get their opinion on the FSLabs Concord and if they would get it, and some said that they would be interested in taking a look at it. Some said I'm fine with what I have now, so I'm interested to see the market for it, or who's gonna actually pick it up.
Much older market for FSLabs to be cornering. Really,
it is
quite. I found it quite surprising, although it is one of their legacy products that they've had for a while. So nothing but excitement there.
Yeah.
Whatever they do, it'll be good.
Without a doubt. All right, so we got some finishing notes here. FSLabs clearly has a very large team working on so many projects. We have the A3XX, we have the A320Neo family, and the Concord. So that means they themselves must be doing pretty well.
As they deserve.
Yeah. All right, and I think that's about it. Do you got anything else?
No, I think we've covered all of the FSLabs recent developments and their announcement, which will be linked in the description.
Yes. From what was it, FS Elite, we put their article right in the description here.
Also got the actual direct link to
Mm-hmm.
blog post from the, who was he? Lefteris?
Andrew.
Butchered that name. No, Andrew's the other guy.
All right.
Yeah, one of them.
All right. Wow. Sorry, the other guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching this third episode of the aviation sector discussion here. I hope you enjoyed the talk about FS Labs. We're going to be posting another video on the Fenix A320 for Microsoft. That video will be coming out next week. And if you guys have anything that you'd like us to talk about, you're more than welcome to join our Discord. We have a text channel dedicated just to discussion ideas. We have a pretty big community that's very active here, always talking about flight sim news and stuff, always posting screenshots. And I'll let this cat out of the bag. We're planning on doing an event, and we're also trying to hook up with one of the largest FSX servers to do a pretty big event.
Also, through our Discord, you get updates as they come from FS Elite, all sorts of news sources.
Yep.
On not just flight sim, but also aviation, military sim,
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Yep. So we got DCS, IRL aviation, as Serophots said, and yeah.
Pretty, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Not only be keeping up to date, but also discussing things, sharing your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It's very nice.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.